Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. If you're just joining us, regular viewers know that I use this last segment to answer viewer questions that come into my email box. Now, to send me your parenting questions, simply send an email to questions@cooperativekids.com, and perhaps I'll select yours on a future episode. The question for today's show has to do with preschoolers and tantrums. The viewer writes, how can I become a more peaceful parent in spite of all the chaos generated by others and the world at large? Now, I've asked all my guests to come back onto the set and help me answer this question. Megan Ledendecker is the Director of Education at the Montessori School of the Berkshires. Jen Salinetti is the Parent Group Chair for the school, and Heather Hanson O'Neill is the author of the book Find Your Fire at 40, Creating a Joyful Life During the Age of Discontent. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. I wanted you to help me answer this question. Now, even though I said that it was about toddlers and tantrums, it's really about more than that. And that was what was in the message from the parent. But this is a great question, because regardless of the age or the development stage of your child, we can all benefit from this. So it goes back to what I was talking about in the last segment. We've got to become the model of peacefulness and more calmness. So I just want to check in with you. What is your suggestion to this parent asking this question? Who wants to start?
I'll go first. Okay. So one thing I find is so important is, and you've referred to this many times, is to take some time, one, for yourself and check in with your own feelings and breathe in those difficult moments when maybe the child's throwing a tantrum or things just feel crazy. And try to really focus on engaging with that child. Maybe it's being able to reflect back and say, oh, you seem so upset right now. And let them know that you acknowledge their feelings. And that being the first step of just acknowledging them, reconnecting with them instead of spiraling up into sort of that crazy mode yourself, right?
And along those lines, I think it's also important, and you bring up a good point, it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Because the number of cases we read in the news where the parent lost control. And of course, the poor child is a victim to what's going on. So we've got to be able to say, time, and then ask for help if we can't handle that.
Yeah.
Heather?
Oh, I was just going to elaborate on what you were talking about, Megan, and the fact is that in order for a lot of people, particularly mothers, think that they are selfish if they take any time for themselves. And I see it as filling up the pitcher, because the more that you are able to come in contact with who you are and your inner voice and the things that feed you and serve you, the better that you'll be for that child, so that you can be calmer for them, so that you can be more focused on them when they need you. I think it's really important to fill ourselves up.
Yeah.
And the point is that you make is we're human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're human beings. We're only capable of doing so much. And primary caregivers, whether they're the mother or the father or the grandparent, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you've got to take time out for yourself. If you don't take time to recharge your batteries, there's no telling the mistakes that you may make in raising children. Jen,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely would echo that. I found that that's made a tremendous difference for myself as a parent. And even within the moment when you were speaking of all that chaos spiraling, I have found over the years that when that starts to happen within my family, sometimes I need to be the one that walks away and takes the space. And not only to serve myself, but to serve them, and to also model that behavior as being acceptable and necessary, really, for the greater well-being of everyone that's involved.
And that matches very closely to what I personally believe and teach my parents, is that we need the timeout before the child does. And timeout is a big issue. A lot of parents still struggle with it, but there's, instead of forcing a child into a space to go away, sometimes amazing things happen if the parent says, I'm taking a timeout.
Yeah.
Mommy is going in that room, and I'll be back in 5 minutes, but I need to calm down. And I always tell parents it's okay to show on your face the stress, because they learn through visual cues what's going on. But the most important thing is you've got to follow through and say what you're going to do. You got to come back in 5 minutes, and you got to come back like, you have to at least try to look like it actually worked.
Yeah.
And amazing thing happened. One time a parent said, well, okay, I took your suggestion. Instead of making her go to timeout, I said, Mommy is going to timeout. First thing her daughter did is said, oh, no fear, I want a timeout. and that speaks to the fact that children imitate what they see. And they're more likely to be ready to move into that next spot if the parent already is. What else? Megan, any other suggestions?
Well, I think that's really important, and we have at the school have created these take a break spaces where it's just that it's not a punishment. It's really a time when you're feeling like you're going to be so out of control, or things that you're starting to feel that escalation happening, where you can say, I just need to take a break from this, and helping actually teach our children how to do that will serve them so well in the future. So it's, there's a preventative measure in teaching that proactively, and then in the moment, I think really just trying to check in with your own feelings too in the moment of being aware of their feelings, your feelings, and try to voice those.
Do you have those for the children as well?
To take a break? Yeah. For the adults and the children.
Yeah. Yes.
As a parent of identical twins, I think often we do this with everybody. We treat each of our children the same way. And even with identical twins, they need to be treated differently. So it also comes down to, after you've done whatever you can do, but understanding that each child needs something different at times.
Awesome thing. Thank you so much for taking time out and sharing that, and I hope the parents walk away with one little thing that they can start using right away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Most of us strive to live in more peaceful and balanced ways, but then life gets in the way. People, deadlines, bills, and even kids get in the way. It's up to us to create personal boundaries and limits for peacefulness to manifest. Take at least one small measure today to begin developing more peacefulness for your family or classroom, and watch the changes occur around you. I hope you'll tune in to future episodes of this program as I offer more tools to help you rebuild your parenting toolbox as an engaged parent or teacher. If you'd like to get this program in your local viewing area, contact my office to find out how. See, making the world a more peaceful place to live begins at home as peaceful and balanced parents. I'm Bill Corbett. I'll see you the next time on Creating Cooperative Kids.
I'll go to sleep with the lights on.